GOP presidential frontrunner Donald Trump is not backing down from his comments criticizing George W. Bush for 9/11.
Trump says Bush's immigration policy led to the attack. Rival Jeb Bush quickly came to his brother's defense. Major Garrett has more on the latest war of words between the two candidates.
Now, am I trying to blame him? I'm not blaming anybody. But the World Trade Center came down, so when he said we were safe, that's not safe. We lost 3,000 people.
All 19 9/11 hijackers entered the country on temporary visas. 1 for a student, 14 under tourist status, and 4 as business visas. At least 6 violated those visas.
I'm extremely tough on people coming into this country. I believe that if I were running things, I doubt those families would have, I doubt that those people would have been in the country.
Thank you, sir. Jeb Bush, trailing Trump badly and trying to emerge from his brother's shadow, released a campaign video Sunday questioning Trump's judgment. He also said the businessman's attacks disqualify him.
It doesn't show that he's a serious person as it relates to being commander-in-chief. Across the spectrum of foreign policy, Mr. Trump talks about things that as though he's still on The Apprentice.
On Twitter, the two called each other pathetic, so presidential. Retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson, running second to Trump in the GOP race, appeared surprised at Trump's 9/11 Bush broadsides.
I would probably ask him what he meant by that. I seriously doubt that he's saying that George W. Bush is to blame for it.
Republican contender Mike Huckabee called the blame game misguided.
I don't think it's fair for anyone to be blamed for 9/11 other than the 19 monsters who trained to kill people.
And Major Garrett joins us now from Washington. Hey, Major. So by bringing up 9/11 and George W. Bush, what is Mr. Trump's strategy here? Is it just something that he spoke off the cuff, or does he really mean this?
Well, think about this 3 ways. When you talk to the Trump people, they always say, look, Donald Trump likes to go where other politicians won't go. He will say things that grab attention and that show he's not hemmed in by political correctness. This would certainly fall into this category. It also has a strategic component in that it helps Trump go back to the issue that first electrified Republicans in this primary and caucus process, immigration. Talking about, well, if I had been in control, my immigration policies would have been tougher, and that might have made some difference. Thirdly, think about this in the context not just of a primary campaign, but a potential general election campaign. Because if, in fact, Donald Trump becomes the Republican nominee, I'm not projecting that, but his people think that's possible. If you have this conversation in a Republican primary and then you attack Hillary Clinton for Benghazi or other things, and she says, well, that's out of bounds, he can say, look, I attacked Jeb Bush and George W. Bush about 9/11, so nothing is out of bounds with me. I have credibility because I've taken this debate in lots of different directions. If you think about it in those 3 ways, it does make some strategic sense for Trump.
Well, Major, as we saw in your piece there, the two seem to be taking this fight to social media. So how does that look for both candidates?
Well, look, Donald Trump does not need social media to get attention. It is a nice echo chamber for him. He does pick up a lot of following there. And to a certain very small degree, his campaign has developed some capability of driving people to the Trump message. But look, Donald Trump doesn't need social media. Jeb Bush most definitely does. If there's been one persistent criticism, well, I'd say there have been many of the Jeb Bush campaign, but one persistent is that he runs a sort of 1990s-style campaign that doesn't have the tempo and the feel for the way we communicate in politics now. He's trying to up that game on social media, so he put together a quick video to criticize Donald Trump, put it out on Twitter, rather, to get the conversation going in that place. But the fact is, when you look at the metrics, Jeb Bush doesn't generate nearly as much social media conversation as Trump does, even far less than some of his Republican challengers, but he's trying to step up his game there.
Meanwhile, Major, Donald Trump is still leading in the polls. A lot of people are wondering if feuds like this one will affect numbers at all for either of those candidates.
What we've learned, and this is a lesson that we should all take very seriously, these various controversies, these various clashes, moments that we think, based on previous experience, might bring Donald Trump down, they just haven't. Yes, his poll numbers have, I would say, not softened as much as they have solidified in the mid to upper 20s, sometimes low 20s, but still in the front runner status. That's true nationally. It's true in all the early primary and caucus states. So whatever we think may be a controversy too big for the Trump dynamic, that hasn't proved to be true. In fact, we keep thinking that might happen. It hasn't happened. So I think we better get wise to the fact that, based on what we've learned so far, controversies don't bring down the Trump campaign. Something else might, but they have not.
Major Garrett in Washington. Major, thank you.
You got it.